now we are going to create our project folder and place all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files in there. Okay, so let's go to our websites folder and create a new folder. And call it Stopwatch app. So you're going to be mainly practicing jQuery and Bootstrap. Okay. So we're going to use Bootstrap for this project. So we can go to the Bootstrap website and download a Bootstrap template from there. Otherwise, as we have done with the previous projects, we can just copy a template from the previous project and customize it for our new project. Okay, so let's open this project using brackets. Okay, so let's go to the index.html file and change the title to Stopwatch app. Okay, and delete all the contents of the body element. And also we don't need that script. Okay, let's save that. And also let's go to the CSS file and just empty it. And if we go to the images folder, we can just delete all the pictures we have in there. Okay. So first we're going to need a picture to set the background of our app. So you can again use the same website we have used before, pixabay.com. So you can just download any picture you want from there for free. Okay. So once you've done that, just get the picture and place it inside the images folder. Like that. Okay. Now let's go to the CSS file and set the background of our website by styling the body element. So we're going to use the background property, okay, and we're going to use the URL function, and we're going to go to the images folder and then tree.jpg. So let's go for the live preview. All right, now let's censor our picture. Okay, and also make it fixed. Now let's use the background size property and set that to cover. Okay, so now we can see that's our picture spread across the whole web page. Okay, so later on we're going to need all the text inside the web page to be white. So let's do that now. Let's set the color to a white color. Okay. All right. Now let's create the title of our app. So before we do that, we are going to place all the content of the body elements inside a container. As we're using Bootstrap, so it's a div of class container or container fluid. So the title is going to be placed inside a div. I'm going to give it an ID header. Okay. And let's write some text there, stopwatch. Now let's style our title. So we're going to access the title using its ID, header. Okay, let's add a comment there. So first of all, we are going to center the text using the text align property and set it to center. Also, we are going to change the font size. This time, we're going to do this depending on the width of our viewport. So there is a good way of doing this. So we're going to use a unit VW, which corresponds to 1% of the width of the viewport. So now, if we increase the width of the viewport, you will see that the font size will change. Okay. Now let's move to the second element, which is the lap time. Okay. So we're going to create another div. Let's just add some comments there. So the first one is the title. And now we are moving to the lap time. So again, it's going to be a div. Okay, let's give it an ID. Lap. Okay. So we are going to place a few spans inside our div, and each of these spans is going to correspond to minutes, seconds, or centiseconds. Okay, and then between each two spans, we're gonna place a colon. Okay, so let's not add any space inside the div and create our spans in there. That's going to be the first one. Okay, and then another one and another one, and between each two we're going to have a colon. Okay, so each of them is going to have an ID that we're going to use later in the jQuery code to change the value of each of these elements. So we're going to call the first one lap minute, and the second one lap second, and the last one lap centisecond. Okay, now let's style our div. So let's go to the styling sheet. So we're looking at the lap. Okay, so we're accessing the lap using its ID, and we are going to center it first, or we're gonna push the text to the right. Okay, so we're going to use the text align property, and we're going to set it to right. Okay, at the moment we don't have any text, so just to start, let's place zeros there inside the spans. Okay. Okay. Let's also change the font size. So we're going to use the VW units again. So let's go for 4 VWs. All right. Now we're going to move to the time, and let's create a div for that. Okay. So it's going to be very similar to the previous div. we're just going to change the IDs. So rather than lap, we're going to have time. So it's going to be time minutes, and then time second, and time centisecond. And the ID of the div is going to be time. Okay. So let's style this. So you're going to access it again using its ID, as we did with the lab. And we are going to center the text in the middle. Okay. And for the font size, we're going to go for 10 VWs. All right.